All right, let's talk about what we're wearing. We're going to dive into what our clothes really say about us. And to do that, we have to go back to a time and a place where getting dressed wasn't just about looking good. It was, quite literally, a matter of life and death.
So I want to ask you something right off the bat. Can the clothes on your back actually define who you are? I don't just mean reflect your mood or your personal style. I mean, can they fundamentally construct your identity in the eyes of everyone you meet?
Because if you lived in ancient Mesopotamia, the answer to that question was a hard, unequivocal yes. Your clothes weren't just fabric. They were your public self, they were your social power, and, get this, they could even be your legal signature.
Now, to really get our heads around this, we have to kind of shed our modern way of thinking. See, we tend to think of clothes as symbols, but for the Babylonians, it went so much deeper than that.
Okay, check this out. On the one hand, you have our modern idea, dress as a symbol. You see someone in a sharp suit and you think that suit represents power. But the Mesopotamian view was totally different. For them, dress was construction. That suit doesn't just represent power, it actively builds the public identity of a powerful person. It's the difference between a drawing of a house and the actual bricks and mortar that make the house stand.
There's actually a cool term for this idea, the social skin. Just think of it like this. It's the surface of your body where your private, inner self meets the public social world. And dress? Dress is the technology you use to shape that meeting point. It's the tool you use to literally build the version of yourself that society is going to see and interact with. And this quote from the historian Carol van der Toorn just nails it. For ancient Babylonians, what you thought about yourself in your own head wasn't really the point. What mattered was your public image. Your identity wasn't something you felt, it was something you did. It was a constant performance.
And you know, when it comes to a dramatic performance, there is no better example than one of their most important myths. Let's see how this all plays out on a truly cosmic stage. We're diving into the myth of the goddess Inanna. She's the goddess of love, sex, and war, a real powerhouse, and her famous journey down into the netherworld. This is the ultimate case study in dressing for the job you want, and in her case, the job is Queen of the Underworld.
So the myth is super specific about how she gets ready, and this is key. She's not just getting dressed, she is building her identity, piece by piece, right on her body. First, she puts on her turban, the crown of the steppe. Boom, identity, queen. Then she adds her special Haile ornament, identity, goddess of sex and war. Finally, she grabs her gold ring and scepter, identity, ruler. See what she's doing? She's creating an undeniable, visible claim to power.
But here's the thing, her sister, the actual queen of the netherworld, she's not dumb. She knows exactly what game Inanna is playing. And so as Inanna descends, she's forced to go through 7 gates. And at each gate, her carefully constructed identity is systematically torn apart.
At the very first gate, the gatekeeper takes her crown. Just like that, her most obvious claim to royalty, her identity as a queen, is gone.
Then, at the second gate, they take her beads. Another layer of who she is stripped away.
At the third gate, they take her scepter. Now her visible authority to rule, the very symbol of her command, is ripped from her hands.
And this goes on and on, piece by painful piece, gate after gate, until she finally arrives at the 7th and final gate and stands before the throne of the netherworld.
Naked and utterly without identity. See, without the clothes that built her authority, her attempt to take the throne is no longer a challenge from a rival queen, it's just a transgression from a nobody. And for that, the gods of the underworld kill her. She didn't lose magical powers, she lost her social right to exist in that space.
Okay, that is a powerful, powerful story. But you might be thinking, all right, that's mythology. Did any of this actually impact real, everyday people? Oh, absolutely. This wasn't just some abstract idea. It was literally woven into the fabric of their society and their legal system. You won't believe how a simple piece of clothing could create a binding, life-changing contract.
Let's just break this down because it's wild. The hem of your garment, the very edge of your clothes, was a legal extension of you. In a marriage, the payment for the bride was literally tied into her hem. It physically bound her to her new family and changed her legal identity. If you got a divorce, the husband would take a knife and physically cut her hem, severing that identity. And if you needed to witness a contract but didn't have a seal, you'd press the fringe of your hem into the wet clay tablet. Your clothing was your signature.
So you see, it all comes together. From these epic myths about goddesses to the fine print on legal tablets, it was all the same principle. Your clothes weren't just something you wore, they were, in the most real sense, who you were in the eyes of society, the law, and even the gods.
Kind of makes you think, right? So go on, just for a second, look down at what you're wearing right now. You probably think you just threw something on this morning. But maybe ask yourself, what identity are you building for the world today?